Is it just me, or does it feel like gaming is not the same anymore? Now, don't get me wrong, I love to play me a good game, but it just feels like the spark is not there anymore. Do you, Bruce, feel the same way? Well, that's what I want to talk about in this video. And I just feel it's best to just come with what's on my heart. You know what I mean? Things that I've been pondering for a while, concerning this subject, this matter, or whatever you want to calls it. And this is basically an opinion piece. I don't script anything. I just come to you and just tell it like it is, how I feels. And I believe that's the best way to do it. And even with you, Bruce, I want to know how you guys feel too. So do the pro gamer strat, right on the keyboard, tunnel vision, panic, and just smash buttons. Maybe like kind of peek a little bit, maybe just so you kind of know what you're doing. But if there's not like keys just flying all over the room, you're not doing it right. Okay. And just like tickle your feels right in the comment section. Let me know what's going on. And then while you're at it, make sure you fat finger the like and subscribe. Okay, especially when you're on your phone, just sitting there going to town, like pecking like crazy. However, you got to do it, your thumbs, I don't know. And like, yeah, just do that stuff. Listen, I really don't have any friends. That's the main reason why okay, anyways. So this is like the introduction to the video. I'm going to go click on this button because it says stop recording, and we'll get right into it, Bruce. Gaming is something that means a lot to a lot of people, and I mean untold millions throughout the decades. And I truly do believe that gaming is just like music. I play music, play some instruments, and you can go some time even with a song you've listened to a million times, right? But even if when you give it that time of not listening to it, you come back to it and it's like the flood, right? The floodgates open and the memories and the timelines of certain times in your life when you were like jamming out to that song, whether it was a warm summer night, got the windows down in the car and you and your brews are, just cruising around listening, maybe you're singing to it karaoke style. I used to do stuff like that in high school. And anyways, it's like, yeah, man, it's the nostalgic feel, right? But it brings back those good times. And gaming is the same way. It does the same exact thing. Especially when, you had a time in your life that was just really good and you had a really good game, and something that you just never played before or a new game that came out and you gave it a try, you fell in love with it, and then when the years go by, you look back on it, it's just like, man, the memories that come flooding to you and you're just like, man, those were good days. And I wish I could go back. But you can't. And that's what sucks about it, Bruce. But it can bring some type of peace, a solace, an escape route, right? To escape the trials of life, because life is full of problems, whether it's marital, family, financial, school, work, mentally, physically, it doesn't matter. It's there. We all know it. Life likes to bend you over, unzip the pants and just go to town. You know what I mean? It's not good. So it's always a therapeutic session, getting into that game. You know what I mean, Bruce? You know what I mean. But on the flip side, even in your most darkest times, so there's the good times, and then there's the dark times. And let me tell you, I've been through some serious dark times. I mean, like pitch black. You can't see nothing. Really, really dark days. And I have some games and even YouTubers, and I'm just going to say it. One of my favorite YouTubers is, Dashy Games, Dashy XP. He's the GOAT. He's one of the GOATs, man. And he, with his commentary, helped me a lot. And it was back in 2021. I never heard of Little Nightmares. I think the first one came out, 2017, I think. And then number 2 came out. And that's when I finally started seeing the videos popping up and whatnot. And I was just binge watching his videos. And I was at like one of the darkest hours of my life, like really dark. And it was just a good way for me to escape. And it was like a whole week. It was, during 2021. So things were still bad with the what, and I don't want to say the word because of the YouTube things and all that. But, It was during that time. And when it came to my life, it was just really bad. And I had a whole week off of work, and because work was like so stressful. And just sitting there and just binge watching his playlist on Little Nightmares with Dash EXP. And I mean, let me tell you something. Even though I was in the darkest time of my life, one of the most darkest times, I found that peace. It helped me through it. And that's one reason too why I even wanted to do this, YouTube channel, in hopes that I could do the same thing for others, you know. So even in the darkest times, you can still find some type of good, you know what I mean? And video games is one great way to do it. And so I feel like that's one of the first things, and I would say this is one of the main things on why it doesn't feel the same anymore, because especially with the good times, that, man, those days are over. You can't go back to it. You're chasing the dragon, Bruce. You'll never catch the dragon.
You don't ever catch the dragon, Dad!
No! No, I said!
So it's pretty much where, especially when time moves on and things change and you grow up, the gaming life is still there, but you're no longer in your 20s. You're no longer in your high school years, whatever it is. You're getting old. Okay. Time is a ticking on you. And you just look back and it's like, man, those days were good. We're searching for a world that no longer exists, Bruce. And it sucks. Another reason why I believe gaming is just not the same is because it's the social aspect of it. It's not what it used to be, Bruce. And you know what I'm talking about. Especially for like the millennial generation, which that's me. Hey, I'm a dinosaur. Anyways, but when it comes to like the millennial generation, I would say we had it good growing up. We had like the best childhood, teenage years, and even 20s, right? But getting into the late 20s and into the 30s, the adulting isn't really turning out too great, is it? Let's not talk about that. Okay. But anyways, but we had it to where like we would still go out with our friends. We would touch grass. I did it all the time. I would skateboard and go out and just be mischievous with, my brews and be doing stupid stuff and just doing typical teenage, kid stuff, right? Which a lot of kids today don't experience because they like to sit there in that cell, the cell phones or the tablets or whatever, and they just sit there and go on YouTube or whatever they're doing. And it's sad because, they don't really get out. But we did that, and we knew how to socialize, right? And I think that's one reason why socializing in games in the early days was really good, because we brought that socializing from the outside world, we brought it into games, and like mid late 90s, there were like chat rooms coming out and stuff like that. We didn't have social media like we do now, right? And that's another thing about the millennials. We grew up like old school way, but then the new school in the sense of like the technology and everything. And social media was coming in, right? But in the early O's, it wasn't really popular. Like things were starting to happen. Like there was Zanga. If anybody remembers that, you can make your own web page or whatever. People could visit it, and And then of course we had MySpace, and then it led into Facebook, and the rest is history. But there wasn't a whole lot of social media platforms like we have today. There was no X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, and LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and all these other things, right? So one way of socializing in a chat room form was video games, believe it or not. And World of Warcraft was one of those. I'll just take that as an example. And when it came to the early days of WoW, it was something that was just not seen before. Like it blew all the other MMOs out of the water, and it was just a really good game. Like for me, I'm a WoW player, but I don't like retail. Like, retail sucks. I'm sorry, Bruce. I hate it. I'll never go back to it again. I always play the classic version, you know, especially the vanilla version. TBC's out right now. It's pretty good. I like TBC. But there's just something about the original version, man, that it just captivates you. And I always find myself going back to it. But when it came to the social aspect, it's really not the same. Like, even playing now, it's not the same as it used to be. Like, people would literally go into that game, hang out in the cities, and do the role-playing stuff, which people still do that today, but it's not like it was back then. And, like, people would just go in there and just chat, man. They would just talk, you know, and just socialize. And that was great. It was awesome. Another game where people did that was Diablo 2. And Diablo 2 is one of the biggest games that I used to play all the time, man. I had so much fun with that game. And I think that was like my middle school years. But, you know, now they have D2R, and they actually have an expansion to the game, which is really good. You know, a 30-year-old game, and here's a new expansion. That goes to show just how good those games are, man. And people are still playing it. And that's even so, but the social aspect, even with Diablo 2, because I remember those that have D2R, and you can go into D2R and there's the lobby area, right? And see, it's not like what it used to be. Nowadays, it's just flooded with bots, advertising. Back then, people would sit there and just talk, man. Just for hours on end. They would just literally just sit there, not even play the game, just talk. You know? So you don't really find that anymore. Sure, they're socializing, but you just don't find it the way that it used to be. You know what I mean, Bruce? So that's another reason why I feel gaming is just not the same anymore. One of the other biggest things why I believe gaming is not the same anymore is that games are just not good. Okay? They're not as good as they used to be. Now, everybody's an individual. Everybody has their own taste. Everybody has their own likes, right? And it's good that there's individuals, right? But the thing is, you know, especially for like somebody like me that playing the older games and then seeing these newer games coming out, it's just like, what is this trash? You know? And of course, this is my opinion. I know other people feel differently, and that's why I want to know what you feel. So put it down in the comment section, right? But anyways, it's just like games today. For example, when I was playing Darkhaven, you know, that game was all right. But when I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the font, I'm looking at the UI, I'm looking at the colors, I'm looking at the game style, the gameplay. Man, Bruce, it's really just, what's the difference between this game and Diablo 3 or 4? What's the difference between this game and Path of Exile? There's not a whole lot, man. Like, sure, there's differences, but it seems like game companies today, they just want to copy and paste. Oh, well, this game was popular. Look what they did here. We're going to recreate the same game, just kind of twist it in our own way, and then say, hey, it's a new game. This is the game of the year, whatever it is. And then they hype all this stuff up. They get you all tickled. You know, they tickle you real good. And then when you go ahead and buy the game and give them your money, then you realize what a steaming pile of crap it is. But at the same time, they don't care because they made their money. You know, they take the money, they run. They don't care. They don't care, right? It's not quality anymore. It's quantity. How much can we sell, make the money? It's all about what's on the spreadsheets. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the biggest mistakes is when the gaming devs started going corporate and all that stuff. Blizzard, I'm talking to you. That's right. What did you do to my game? You ruined it. Okay. Anyways, I hope you Bruce know what I'm talking about. It's just like back then, for example, I want to take Left 4 Dead 2, for example, one of the shooter games. I'm telling you, man, this game is just so good. And it's not even the nostalgic aspect of it. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, it's just nostalgia, bro. You know, you just need to get over it and get with the times. No. It's not even nostalgia, because as fast as nostalgia comes is as fast as it leaves. You know, you get that rush, you get that dopamine, and then it just leaves, right? But why is it that I keep going back? Because it's a good game, man. I still play this game today. And especially like a lot of the mods that people make, it's so much fun, dude. Like, it's just fun. I could play it. This game came out in 2009. Okay? It's going on 20 years old here. And we're still playing it, right? Again, with D2R, Diablo 2, it's the same thing. That game's 30 years old, but people are still playing it. There's an expansion that came out to it, right? There's just something about the simplicity and the way things were, right, that made games good. And nowadays, they just want to uproot that stuff and then just throw something else in there, and it just doesn't turn out good. Another example I would say, and I made a video on this, I can put the link in the description, where it came to Resident Evil. You know, Resident Evil Requiem, I really was like, kind of like, I don't know about this game. But when I played it, I fell in love with it. And I'm actually in the process of playing the Insanity mode, and it is not easy. But I'm not going to spoil anything. So anyways, but, you know, I'm an OG Resident Evil fan, right? I started with the first game, you know, there in the mansion, and then playing number 2. I didn't own number 2, but I played some of it. I rented it. And then number 3, I owned that game and I played that. Played it real good. But when number 4 came out, I know a lot of people don't like, you know, they don't like to hear this because there's a lot of RE4 fanboys, but Resident Evil 4 just did not feel like a Resident Evil game because it went more of like that action style, which is fine because they had that in Requiem. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just didn't feel like a Resident Evil game. Like the horror aspect was not there. And then when 5 and 6 came out, those games were not even close to being Resident Evil games. It was something else. But then when Resident Evil 7 came out, even though it was different in the game style and stuff from the originals, the horror aspect was there. If it, you know, solving the puzzles like how it was in it reminded you of the mansion when you were in the Baker house and all this and that. Now, I'm not going to get too far into it because I made a video. You can check that out. But it felt like a Resident Evil game. It was good. And the storyline was so good. It was really good. Right? But then Resident Evil 8 came out. And in my opinion, they butchered it. Like even the storyline continuing on with the Winters, Ethan and Mia, and with Evelyn and the connections and all that stuff. It just, man, they just got too crazy with it where it was like, what is this, man? And they were trying to make it like Resident Evil 4, which I didn't like. It's just, it didn't feel like a Resident Evil game to me. It was just a steaming pile of crap. I'm sorry. So when Resident Evil 9 was coming out, I was like, I don't know about this. But that game was really good because it felt like a Resident Evil game. What I'm trying to say here, Bruce, this is one of the main problems that I believe with gaming and why it's not the same. These companies today, they're trying to do all of this crazy stuff, trying to be like epic and cinematic and all this stuff, which there's nothing wrong with. Okay, time moves on. Things evolve, you know, especially with gaming. All right, I get it. There's nothing wrong with that per se. But when you just like uproot the original roots of what made the game good, when you just get rid of that and throw something else in there, it's not the same anymore. It's not even the same game. You know, and there's a lot of companies that do that stuff. And then these newer companies that have come out or whatever, all they're doing is just copy paste. Oh, this game is popular. We're just going to copy it. Oh, Dark Souls was a huge hit. Here, let's make a game that's basically Dark Souls. It tastes the same, smell the same, plays the same. It's the same. It's just got a different name and it's tweaked up a little bit different, but it's really the same game. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, what's the difference between this one and that one? There's really nothing. And then just totally uprooting what made the games good from the beginning. It's not a good thing to do. And I believe that's one reason why indie games are also on the rise. And I tell you what, man, I just got done with Poppy Playtime. I had so much fun playing that game. So much fun. And in some of these other jump scare indie games, I'm having more fun playing these than these stupid AAA games that are coming out, you know? So it just seems like that's what happens when you go corporate, you know? Yeah. It's all about the money nowadays. Screw corporations. They ruin everything. So I know there's many different things that we can talk about. There's many more other opinions and ideas and things like that. That's why I need you, Bruce, to go ahead and put it in the comment section. Just tickle your feels right in there. You know what I mean? But I believe that just a lot of gaming companies today, they've gone a different direction. Listen, things evolve with games. Things progress and get better. I get it. We're not living in the past anymore. But there's something about the older games that were just really good. Okay? And when they're trying to uproot all of that, what the original roots of what made the game good, see, that's just what it's a different game. And that's what a lot of gaming companies have done today. And it's just all about the money. It's about making some, slapping something together, hyping it up. Oh, this is the game of the year, blah, blah, blah. Like they really did that with Diablo 4. And I knew that Diablo, I didn't even touch that with a 39.5-foot pole. Okay. And look what happened. So anyways, that's the first thing. Second, I believe it's just the social aspect. Socializing, it's not the way that it used to be. Yes, it's still there, but it's just not the way it used to be back in the day. And then, of course, lastly, I believe, and this is probably the meat, bread, and butter, is that we realize that playing these certain games in certain times of our life, they were the good times, right? And we know that we can't get those days, they're gone. That's the tragic thing about life. Life moves on. Life doesn't care how you feel. It just keeps going. And then, especially when people run into dark times and bad times, they look back on the past and they look back on those games and it's like, man, those were good days. Man, I wish I could go back. And you just can't, Bruce. We're searching for a world that no longer exists. And it sucks. And you're chasing the dragon. And let me tell you, you'll never catch the dragon, okay?
You don't ever catch the dragon, Dad!
No!
So these are my thoughts, and these are my opinions. And again, do the pro gamer strat. Tunnel vision, panic, smash buttons. Let the keyboard just start flying, the keys everywhere. Put your opinions, put your feels right in the comment section. Let me know how you feel on this. And until next time, I got to go click this button over here that says stop recording, okay? Because it's the end of the video. And I'll see you next time.